Thanks everybody, and welcome to this brief presentation about non-violent communication, or NVC. You're probably watching this if you're either coming on or been on a mediation course with me or a managing conflict thing, or communication stuff. I use NVC a lot. This is really going to be a very quick run through. If you want to find out more, there's a couple of things I would recommend. That you go onto the Centre for Nonviolent Communication website, which is cnvc.org. cnvc.org. And I would recommend you go on a course. Actually, I went on a 2-day course which was run by accredited NVC trainers, and it was really excellent. I think it's possible to pick some stuff up from a presentation or a shorter course, but the people who do the NVC courses, they're great, and they've really got a grasp on what this is all about. Probably a bit over dramatic to say it changed my life, but you know, it has been an important thing for me. It's been really useful at home, at work, etc. Developed by Marshal Rosenberg, who very sadly died in 2015. Was a tremendous writer and seemed to be a very, very interesting man, very compassionate man. And he developed NVC as a way not just to have a clever conversation about, not just to be clever in conflict, but actually to really connect. That was his thing, where people really, really connected. And take a look at some of his books as well. It made a tremendous contribution. So there we go, non-violent communication. So a bit of a summary. What I think of it is, it has been 4 stages or steps. Though of course, as in any sort of process, it's possible to do this in a different order. But this is the way in which, when I'm describing it to people, this is how I start, and it's observations, requirements, feelings, and requests. What I'll do is I'll just go through these 4 stages, and maybe you can get a sense about how I might use it in a difficult conversation at home, at work, or what have you. So let's start with observations. I think Krishnamurti, who was a philosopher, said that to observe without judging, without evaluating, is the highest form of human intelligence. And I sort of get that, you know, that we so quickly make an evaluation, and sometimes that can really get in the way if we want to have a challenging conversation, if we want to connect with somebody about a difficult subject. So there's something here that's very, very useful about, if you're going to have a difficult conversation, if you're going to take a matter to somebody, then you do so using the information that you've seen, that you've heard. So actually what you've observed rather than you felt. And I'll give you an example. There's something about how important it is to notice without judging. This is kind of crucial. So there we go. There's a conversation between a manager and member of staff at work. Somebody who's come in late on a couple of occasions, and then, you know, the alternative is manager says you're tardy, you're a bad timekeeper, and sort of gets off to a, you know, certainly would have the member of staff's attention. What NVC is suggesting is that actually what we do is give people feedback. So on this occasion, for example, we'd say on Tuesday you came in at 9:20 and on Thursday at 9:35. So there's some information. This is what this person's seen. Here's another example. This was real life. Your staff are taking what's not theirs, you know, i.e., you know, you're parking in our parking spaces. Or as an observation says, 4 of your staff are currently using the car park without my agreement, as in yesterday. You know, yesterday I saw 3 of your staff in the car parking, which is signposted for this team. So this is some information. Another example. Or dealing with outside supplier. Your service sucks. You're not reliable. Or we could say in April and May you promised the paperwork on time. On each occasion it arrived 5 days after the agreed time. So here's some information. Okay, so we start with this idea of making an observation. I mean, another example would be, I've got my son's room is quite often something I worry about. So I could go in and I could say, this is disgusting, or you are slovenly, I don't know, you're a slob or something. And sometimes I feel, I feel cross. But what I really need to do is to connect with them. So I say, I've been up to your room. I've seen 4 dirty plates, what looks like 3 or 4 pairs of pants on the floor. There's quite a strong smell in the room. And here's some information which I'm delivering compassionately. So it's an observation rather than a judgment. So why am I bothering? What are my requirements? Why are we having the conversation? And this is a way about saying what's important to me. So we're going back to this manager talking to a member of staff. The service our team provides starts at 9 o'clock, and I need everybody in the team to be ready to provide the service at that time. That's the reason why you come in at 9 o'clock. That's the reason why when I'm talking to you, because on Tuesday you came in at 9:20 and on Thursday you came in at 9:35, whatever it is. This is why we're having the conversation. This is what I require, and those are the reasons. Another example. My team makes several home visits each day, and they need the car parking space so they can do this as effectively as possible. That's why we're talking about car parking. Not just because, I don't know, I'm precious. I've got a reason. I'm explaining it to you. Here's the external supplier. This paperwork is crucial to our service and needs to be here on time. I would prefer to feel confident that it will arrive on time. That's one of my requirements, to feel confident that when I order the paperwork, or when I ask for the paperwork, or when you agree to send me the paperwork, that we can be sure that that I can feel confident it arrives on time. That's my requirement. Now, feelings are tricky. My example with my son, I could say, well, I've been into your room, I've seen these plates, I've seen underpants, there's a smell. Requirements might be, well, you're 17 now, you're going to leave home in the next year. I'd like to think that when you do so, live independently, you'll be able to do so in a way which is successful for you and healthy, and keeps yourself healthy and well. The feelings might have, so when I go in there and I see that, I just feel worried. I feel worried for you, because I'm worried that when you go away, you won't be able to do that. So those mixed in my feelings. In work, we're slightly different with our feelings. We tend to sort of mute them, I think, and I think that's probably right, depending on the culture, I suppose. But you might say, I don't know, in April and May, I asked for this paperwork. On each occasion, it was 5 days late. I need this paperwork in order to do my job properly, and I'd like to feel confident when I order it, it's going to come. So when it doesn't come, I feel frustrated, or I feel disappointed, or I feel concerned. And those are kind of rather more toned down feelings, I guess, which would fit into altogether what might be more acceptable at work. There's something about requests, and I use some examples. What Rosenberg says is that we can tell people what to do, and they may well do it. However, we may well risk losing their goodwill, and their goodwill is everything. In most human interactions, goodwill, a wish to support other people, is pretty important in all sorts of human interactions, at work, at home, etc., etc. So you remember the example of the person who had the feedback to them from their manager that they were in 9:20, 9:40, and the reason why is that quite straightforward. Please make sure you're here and ready to work at 9 o'clock. Okay. Please don't use those car parking spaces in the future. Or, okay, should you need a car parking space, why not come to me and let's see if we can arrange something that works well for our team in the way that we work, and also for yours on occasions, so that we can agree something. A straightforward, would you please ensure that the paperwork we need is with us on the agreed time? Or when we agree a time for the paperwork to deliver, I'd like to could we be sure that that was reasonable and you were able to fulfill that? So these are kind of requests. So there we go. Observations, requirements or needs, feelings and requests. And that's a chunk of the nonviolent communication theory in a nutshell. I hope that's useful. Don't forget cnvc.org. Please do get in contact with me if there's anything I can do. And thanks for watching the presentation this far. Okay, thanks everybody. Bye.